Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of FPL Fan Zone. My name's Nick and in today's episode we're going to have my final thoughts as we lead into the Gameweek 2 deadline. We're going to look more deeply at the Solanke saga with Ange Postecoglou mentioning that he is not fit and won't be playing against Everton this weekend. What does that mean for my team? What are my options as we're only now hours away from making those final decisions? Don't forget to like, subscribe and leave a comment below. Have you got Solanke in your team? Were you lucky enough not to have him? Did you catch the Harrods price rise, for example? Let me know and I'll get back to you shortly. Without further ado, let's get started. So this was my team before the news dropped in the press conference yesterday that Solanke was injured. So I have Flecken in goal against Liverpool away. Not a great fixture, not expecting any points there. I've got Saliba and Gabriel and Gvardiol in defence. Now Gvardiol looks like a great game at home to Ipswich, so I'm hoping for another clean sheet there from Gvardiol, potentially another bonus point or two like he got in the last game. With the two Arsenal guys, I know that Villa's a tough game and we didn't keep any clean sheets against them last season, but certainly they are good enough to keep clean sheets in this, so just hoping for a clean sheet this week and they'll both get the 6 points. But okay if both of them just get their appearance points for this week, as I take that into consideration when I set up the team. Next up in my midfield, I've got Saka away to Aston Villa. From an attacking perspective, I think there's lots of opportunities there. Villa are not looking particularly defensive. They conceded against West Ham last week. So really happy with Saka. He had a really good game last week with a goal and an assist. He's got great chemistry with Havertz at the moment. So really happy to have him in the team. I've got Salah next with Brentford at home. He's my captain this week. Obviously no Haaland, so it makes sense to have Salah there. I think it's another good fixture for them. A good opportunity for him to get attacking returns. So happy that he's in the team. And then Gordon away to Bournemouth. Now Gordon particularly had really good results at home last season, so it'd be good to see whether that's just a myth that we made up or whether actually he's going to be able to get those same sort of returns away from home this season. But overall, it'd be good, also hopefully good to see how Newcastle are attacking this year after obviously last week when they only played with 10 men for 60 minutes. And then next up, I've got Eberechi Eze, who's playing at home to West Ham United. He looked really, really attacking last week. Was unlucky to have his goal chalked off. So really happy to have him in the team. And that rounds off the midfield. Up front, I have Solanke at home to Everton. Now this felt like such a good fixture. Everton didn't have a great start. Didn't look amazing during pre-season. I thought there was a real chance for Solanke to pick up some points in this game. But obviously the big challenge for this week is that he is now injured. So I need to find a replacement for him. Next up, there was Isak away to Bournemouth. Again, he looked very, very strong in the back end of last season. He got an assist last week despite not having a lot of opportunities. So really happy to have him in the team. And then finally, I've got Muniz at home to Leicester. And again, Fulham now have a really good run of fixtures. So happy to have him in the team. And then on the bench, I've had Valdemarson, who's the backup to Flecken. I have Bailey, who's playing at home to Arsenal. Harwood Bellis at home to Nottingham Forest. And then Johnson at home, away, to Manchester City. So that was how it was until I heard obviously that Solanke is out. And that has now caused me a headache. So let's have a look at what are my options. So looking at my team, these are the options that I have put in order of preference. And I'll talk through them now. So the first one is to just put Solanke on the bench, roll the transfer, wait for more information and make the 2 free transfers next week. The pros for that, obviously it does give me 2 free transfers next week and I can move without, make 2 moves without taking a hit. It gives me more information. I can see if there's another 4.5 defender that maybe allows me to upgrade Solanke, or whether there's, I downgrade Solanke, maybe there's a 5.5 or 6 million striker that looks good moving forward, so I can make those decisions. There is a potential price drop, but when I last checked in the last hour or so, he was only at 38% of a price drop, so there's still a little way to go, but that may change as we get closer to the deadline. And then of course I'll need to keep an eye on that over the weekend to make sure I'm not losing any money on that transfer. Option number 2 is to just do a straight swap. Solanke to Mateta. Now, one thing I didn't take into consideration at the start of the season, as I brought Solanke into the team very, very late, was the price range at 7.5. And there's not a huge amount of options in there at the moment. The other one is Darwin Núñez, who has dropped down to 7.4 after not starting last week. So there's just not a huge amount in that price range that at least is exciting me at the moment. Havertz went up 0.1 this week. Otherwise, I could have had Porro. I could have moved one of my defenders down to Porro and moved Solanke up to Havertz, which would have been a good option for me, but obviously too late in the game week now for that to happen. The advantage of this is a straight swap. Mateta is really a big differential at the moment. I think 4.5% owned in the game. So if he does play well, and he did play well during the Olympics, my concern is, and the con is, obviously there's not enough data. He only played 45 minutes. He didn't look very sharp in his first game week. So there's just a doubt about whether or not he's going to get the full 90 minutes. But also he is on penalties, so there is an opportunity there as well. So I do like this as an option, and certainly one that I'm considering at the moment. Just feel like that if it goes wrong, I'm going to have to make another transfer to try and rectify it later on. So right now, my only concern is not enough data on Mateta, but could be a nice option. Option 3 was one that I joked about earlier in the game week. Was actually I just take a -4. I drop Salah down to a Rodgers, and then brings Haaland in for Solanke. Now the beauty of this is obviously it gives me Haaland against Ipswich at home, which is an easy captain choice, and covers the challenge that I had this week. Is obviously that there's a real potential that he's going to get a haul. The cons are obviously one, it's -4 points so early in the season. I had a good game week 1, but 4 points at this point could drop me nearly a million places plus in the game. And then also it means that I have double Villa versus Arsenal at the moment with both Bailey and Rodgers. And it's not an attack that I want to double up on, but after the Arsenal game, there are some really good fixtures moving forward. So this one was a bit of a joke one, but the covering Haaland really does appeal to me. Losing Salah, not so much. So that's why it's third on the list. And then the fourth option here is Solanke to Armstrong. So downgrading Solanke to a 5.5 million forward. So it could have been Armstrong, it could have been João Pedro. And then moving Gordon up to Foden. Now technically I don't need to move Gordon up to Foden this week, but just again trying to cover that Man City game against Ipswich there as well. Now the pros there is really love to have Foden in my team. My midfield would look really, really strong with Salah, Saka and Foden, and Eze in there would be a really, really strong team with just the rotation of Bailey on that. Good cover, as much as you can cover for Haaland without actually bringing him in and keeping Salah in the team. The cons on this one here is one is that I'm not confident on Foden's minutes. Yes, he got 45 minutes in game week 1, but that was mainly due to an injury there, so maybe he only gets 60 minutes in there. So it's and then the other pieces is obviously that my front three is then I've really got Isak and two 5.5 or 6 million forwards. So there's a lot of rotation and benching headaches each week as to which one's going to get me the points. There's not a lot of consistency in that front line. So probably it's a no for me to downgrade Solanke that much on that. And my preference as it stands is just to roll one transfer and to put Solanke on the bench. So here it is then. This is how my team now looks going into the deadline. I've got Flecken in goal, Saliba, Gabriel and Gvardiol in defence, Saka, Salah, Gordon, Eze and Bailey comes into the team against Arsenal at home, and then Isak and Muniz up front. On the bench I've got Valdemarson, Harwood-Bellis, Johnson and then Solanke in the fourth place because he's injured. I think this will allow me to have two free transfers, give me another game week's worth of data that I can use to make an informed decision next week. And overall the team looks really strong. I'm hoping that Bailey blanks, which means Arsenal get 2 clean sheets. One, because I'm an Arsenal fan, and two, because it means more points for my team. But let me know in the comments below, what's your thoughts? Do you have Solanke? Is there anyone that I've not considered that I would have? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll get back to you shortly. And let's see how we get on this game week. Once again, big thank you for everyone watching FPL Fan Zone this week. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications of any future videos coming up. Wishing you all a really good game week and a green arrow. I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.